Hey everybody, this is Allison from Thriving While Disabled, and I just got a little closer to the water today since things are calmer. Today I want to talk to you guys about toxic positivity as opposed to, toxic positivity as opposed to having like a realistic concept of things and then expressing and then following that. An example of toxic positivity that's very much part of what's going on right now is, unfortunately, our president is talking about everything going back to normal by Easter. We can't control dates of when viruses start to fade or how bad these effects can be. So it's really important to be talking to and listening to the scientists and the researchers who actually know what's going on. One of the big problems right now in this country is actually that not enough people are being tested for COVID-19. And because people aren't being tested, we don't know who has it and who doesn't, which makes it much harder to follow that through and find the underlying and find all of the people who are infected and manage and stop the spread of the infections. The shelter in place is good. What we're doing right now to try to manage it and the self-quarantining, that's important, but it's only useful if we then follow through and trace the lines of who's infected so that we can actually treat the people who are infected, quarantine them, and then slowly let people who we can guarantee aren't carrying it start to normalize until everybody who might have it has either been through the quarantine and treated and are better and no longer infectious, or the people who never were infected know that they aren't and weren't infected. This is going to take a while, people. And so it's really important to be to have realistic optimism about this. There is hope. Things can and likely will get better. Those of us who are smart about it have a better chance of making it through, and even those of us with chronic conditions can keep ourselves safe and do things that will increase our chance of being okay through this. But toxic ideas of what's going to happen in work are going to work against us. They're going to damage us as individuals and are going to injure and damage society as a whole. We need to look at the facts and face them down. And then we can figure out what's hopeful and what we can do in the meantime to keep our spirits up. I have a post all about toxic positivity and realistic optimism, and I'm going to share that in the comments afterwards. But I just want you to know that this is something very near and dear to my heart, and it's something that, in all honesty, those of us with chronic conditions have probably been dealing with most of our lives. It happens to other people too, especially people dealing with mental health conditions. Hi, Sander. Thank you for the wave. But it's really, really important that we stay positive and aware. So like I said, the toxic positivity that we more normally deal with are people saying, oh, well, doing yoga will fix it. Or haven't you tried meditating? That'll make everything better. Or you have to feel happy and hopeful all the time. Well, that's crap. That's not how this stuff works. We deserve to have a good knowledge of what's happening, and we deserve to be respected for who we are. And people telling us, oh, if you only do X, Y, or Z, everything will be fine, they might mean well, but they don't understand the complexities of our conditions, of our situations, of what's going on. They're being overly simplistic. And they're also carrying out these myths. Can meditation be helpful for people? Absolutely. Is meditation going to cure you? Probably not. is, all of the different activities that may be helpful, but there's almost nothing that's going to just fix all the problems. There is no magic pill that makes it all go away. And toxic positivity usually comes from people who don't understand how these things work, don't understand the complexities involved, and generally think that if you shut up about it, that means it's okay. And that's just not how any of this works. So I think it's really, really important, especially in times like this where we're not getting a lot of reliable information, to step back, take a breath, and lean back in on ourselves. Realistic optimism is about knowing, or at least having a reasonable idea of the chances, of the risks, of what could go wrong, what could go right, how good a chance things have of getting better or getting worse, and then striving to get to that best possible result. So what I'm talking about with realistic optimism is, right now with all the COVID-19 stuff, my realistically optimistic assessment of things is, if I practice my social distancing, if I self-quarantine, if I stay smart and safe about this, I am not likely to get COVID-19. Does that mean I won't get it? No, but it means I've got a much better chance of not getting it than I would be if I was going around and hugging everybody and ignoring what was going on and pretending everything was normal. So my responsibility to myself is to be realistic about it. Guess what? I've got, things at home to treat, a flu or cold. It's all there in case I need it. This way, if something does happen, I've got stuff to help me unless or until it turns into an emergency. And for most people, it's not super likely to become an emergency. There's a lot of people who are completely asymptomatic. There's a lot of people who are going to make it through just, like they would if there was a flu. Are some people absolutely more affected? Absolutely. I can't control what my body is going to do if I get it, but I can do everything in my power to not get it in the first place. And so the realistic optimism part is, I'm not going, if I do all these things, I'm absolutely not going to get it. I'm lowering my chances. I'm improving my chances of getting through this all right. That's all I can control. That's all I can manage. I'm realistically assessing this. Toxic positivity is ignoring it. Toxic positivity is saying everything's going to be fine. Toxic positivity is if I'm exposed, I'll expose my whole family, and then all of us are at risk. But I'm probably not exposed, so it's fine. That's not helpful to anybody. With your own personal health conditions, again, toxic positivity is that, meditate and you'll be fine kind of attitude. Or, if you take this medication or that medication or do this thing or that thing, you're guaranteed to walk again, or you're guaranteed to, have this particular positive effect. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of conditions just don't work that way. There's a percentage chance that you won't get better, or there's a percentage chance that you won't regain whatever aspect of your life. And to tell yourself over and over again that you're going to get a result that's not likely is only going to disappoint you if that happens. But on the other hand, if you're realistic about it and realistically optimistic, you learn the statistics and you say, okay, I am aiming to be in that 5%, 50%, whatever, of people who have this best possible result. What can I do to get myself there? And then take those appropriate and necessary actions. As an example, I have functional neurological disorder. I was diagnosed with it in 2003. At the time, there weren't really any proven treatments that were actually helpful. At that time, what I was told was a percentage of people it spontaneously goes away, and a percentage of people it doesn't, and we don't know why. So we talked about how it might be stress associated, and so what I did was I tried to manage and reduce my stress all kinds of different ways. I tried to do my best to live with and accept my symptoms and my condition. And by doing all of those things, I was still doing okay and open to hope when just a few years ago I found out about a proven treatment program, which is, in my case, a week-long PT-OT program that does work towards doing a complete retraining of the brain as a way to help manage symptoms. Before I went into that program, I did my research, and about 2/3 of people who go into these programs show improvement. About 1/3 of them look to be completely improved or don't have any more obvious symptoms. About 1/3 have a substantial improvement, but don't seem cured. And another 1/3 don't really show any improvement at all. And it looks like mindset and attitude have a piece or a part of it, but they really, they can't prove what causes what. So when I went into the program, I didn't say, I'm going to come out of this completely fine, and I'm going to be symptom free, and everything in life's going to be perfect then. I went into that program saying, look, I want to be somebody who shows substantial improvement. If that improvement is so substantial that I seem symptom-free, awesome. If not, I can live with that too. And so I went into the program, did my best, and came out with it tremendously improved. Was I absolutely 100% symptom-free all the time? No, I wasn't. But it was such a substantial improvement that I no longer had to say I'm managing a disabling condition when I introduced myself to people, because my symptoms weren't always obvious. And that was a huge mental and emotional adjustment for me. And do I think it was possible that I could have had that 100% improvement? I guess maybe, but I don't think it's likely. I never said, I can't improve more than this, that's for sure. But I knew the reality was I'd been managing the F&D for over 10 years at that point. And so it was pretty deeply set in my psyche, and it was something that would be difficult to completely kick, and I wouldn't even know 100% who I was if I got rid of it. I'd be happy to get to know that new person, but that would have been such a huge change that it was difficult to really fathom. So, I looked at everything and I went, all right. And so I went into the program and I was thrilled with my improvement. I was thrilled with the new chances I got. I was so happy that things got better. And if I had gone in there saying, I'm going to be 100%, I've got to be 100%, I might not have been so happy with what happened, even though, it still hugely improved my life. So, again, I just want to say, let's think about what in our life is realistic and what in our life is toxic, and focus on finding those realistic and positive things in our lives, in our days, in our conditions, in what's going on with the world, and focus on making sure that we have a realistic image of what all of this is like, what all of this looks like, and what our future may hold. And once we know the reality and have really absorbed it, that's when we start to create expectations for ourselves and start to work towards meeting or exceeding those expectations. All right. Thank you so much. I'm just going to give you a quick view of this whole area because I think it's gorgeous. This is the marsh by my house. It's a nature trail called the Henry Hudson Trail. And yep, a lot of stuff's brown right now, but I'm seeing a lot of trees starting to starting to bud, and I'm seeing bits of green coming out. And, you know, it's a beautiful day today. If you can, step outside, take a breath of fresh air, go for a little walk if you're up to it. But yeah, I just really care about everybody, and I want to make sure that you are all great. So hang in there, be strong, and once you've got a sense of reality, then think positive. All right. Keep thriving, everyone. I'll talk to you later.